to Salaam Nerds podcast. We do reviews and recaps of nerd culture, reality TV, and current events from this week.
Yo, it's the Salaam Nerds. My name is Steve, aka Watch With Steve, and I'm here with my boy Chad.
We drop live episodes on YouTube on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. All episodes can also be found everywhere podcasts are found. Thank you to all our supporters. Please help us by subscribing and leaving a good review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Yo, Salaam Nerds. It's your boy Neebs, aka Watch with Neebs, and I'm here with a couple of guests this week because we do not have Jazz. Poor Jazz has an eye infection. He says that he can't even look at a screen, which is super sad. He can't even be in the comment section. Poor Jazz, eyes all messed up, probably from crying for the last day over Jamal Bowman. That's probably what's happening. Poor Jazz. But he will maybe he'll listen in. Maybe he'll listen in and he can enjoy that. He did give me some of his comments, so I will read off his comments during the episode. But until then, let me introduce you guys to our guests. Starting off, we got Swara. Swara, welcome to the show.
Hello, thanks for having me back.
Tell our audience a little bit about yourself because they haven't seen you in a while.
Oh, yeah. Was it that long since I was last on? Well, I'm one of the co-hosts of the Middle Geeks podcast where we cover anything and everything Swana, i.e. Mina, related media. I'm a freelance writer as well, so yeah.
Awesome. And next we have Christine, who you guys saw on last week's episode. Welcome back to the show, Christine.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Oh, man. Yeah, we can hear you perfectly. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I got new headphones, so I think
worries.
I'm cute. No, it's great to be back. I enjoyed our conversation. We
got a lot of comments about your you being on last week, so we enjoyed that. We got some DMs about it, and people really liked you. So welcome back to the show.
Yay.
Yeah, all right. So I'm gonna ask you guys your overall thoughts before we dig in and do the review and the breakdowns and the Easter eggs and all that fun stuff. What did you guys think of this episode? Christine, I want you to go first.
I thought a lot of things. It was amazing. I thought the fight sequences were just like off the chain. I was horrified, and I really think Star Wars needs to front the bill for my therapy because I was not expecting any of what happened to happen. Like, we'll get into it later, but overall, I thought it was great.
Yep.
Dramatic, but great.
Swara, what about you?
I've been loving this show from the beginning. I think that what Leslie Headland and her team has put together is one of my favorite Star Wars or sci-fi series I've ever seen. And I'm very selective when it comes to Star Wars. Since The Rise of Skywalker, Neebs. But this is like reignited love of Star Wars for me, honestly. Like, even more than... I mean, I really enjoyed Andor. I think it's one of the best things. I think it's technically the better quality series overall. But this is like the shit I really dig. And episode 5, amazing. Bravo. This really sealed my love of the series overall. And I'm very hopeful for where it'll go from here.
Nice. All right, cool, man. So overall, I love this episode. I thought this episode was amazing. I love the fighting. I love the reveals. I thought the first 75% of this episode, I'm like, oh my God, we're back. This is what we want. And I was all about it. They did lose me a little bit at the end, and I'll probably go into details about why. I felt like, let's Scooby-Doo this shit, and they decided to Parent Trap at the end, and I was like, I wasn't really digging that, but overall, I really, really loved that episode. I think there were some things that are happening here that we've never seen before, and I'm really excited, and there's some things that are happening here that, we've been hoping for a long time, and it's really, really exciting to be in a place of Star Wars like this. So let's get into it, man. This episode, we're gonna break it down. We start off with Osha, and they do this like amazing scene where they're kind of just like going into a zoom from the aerial view to where she is lying on the ground, and then she wakes up and she's disoriented, and there's like all this fighting happening in the background. And as this fighting is coming into focus, you see the sound come into focus. I love this scene. I thought it was so well done, and it kind of gave me Lost vibes when, like, if you ever watch Lost, you see in the beginning, like he's basically wakes up just like that in the middle, and then if you can see like screaming and crashes of the airplane and everything from far away, and the sound comes into focus. Really, really cool scene. Great way to set this up. My critique, though, I think this would have been better as the one episode 4 and 5 put together 1 hour. I think that would have been incredible. I don't think splitting it up into 2 episodes did it justice. That's my only critique of the beginning of it. What are your thoughts?
I mean, that's what I've heard a lot, to be quite honest. Like people wishing that it was just one episode. I don't mind it as much because I love the ending of episode 4 and that sensation, that fear that it brings into the next episode. I'm also like someone who's I've had like I've been on a sort of debate-ish podcast episode about this on But Why Though. Recommend you check that out on the binge versus weekly model. So
Right.
if this were a binge, this definitely would have not like been that much of a critique from people, and maybe
True.
like who knows, maybe like they designed it that way, maybe they thought it was going to be like a bingeable series at one point, or probably not because they usually do weekly. But I think it really just comes down to budget. It comes down to scheduling with these episodes and what they're given, because unfortunately this is still Disney, a corporation, and they do things stingily sometimes. So
Sure.
I understand the critique. I also don't personally criticize that much based on circumstances. I mean, I just like love that we got this at all.
Yeah. I mean, it's fair. It's one of the craziest fights we've ever seen. Christine, what about you?
For me, it made sense for it to cut off the where that it did, because it made sense to kind of leave with a cliffhanger. It made sense to leave you always leave you wanting more. And then having it longer would have given it more of a movie feel.
Yeah.
So the thing about with Star Wars is that we have movies and we have shows, and we have a preference. The shows are newer. We're used to like getting in films, so I feel like people are just used to that. And they're trying to tell me to wait, what do you mean? Wait, no, I want everything now. Like we have this binge culture.
Sure.
So I really feel like that's kind of where it comes from. Like they are shorter than the earlier episodes, but at the same time, for the story itself, to me, it made sense for it to stop where it was. Even though you always want more, but that's like a good show. You always want more.
Fair.
So no, it made
That's
sense
fair.
for me for it to be split the way that it did.
That's fair. I get that. All right. We got some comments on Instagram. Someone says, I've thought about nothing but death for the past 3 days. That's fair. Despair. I
The
totally get that.
trauma.
Death and trauma. Oh my God. That's crazy.
I just watched it again.
Oh man. But one of my favorite things that I've never seen before is the way he blocks the lightsabers and short circuits them with his helmet and his like brace. I thought that was so cool. And then they looked it up, and it's like a metal cortosis, and it basically just
from
erupts
Legends,
from Legends, which is really cool. And they're like, it's really useful, but it's not as durable as Beskar, and it's kind of like in the lore. And I think it's really cool to finally get to see that. The headbutt just looks so dope. I thought that was really, really cool. And then to see Yord kind of use it against him at the end, I thought that was really, really cool. The way it all
Very
came together. Yeah. What are your thoughts about the fights?
The fights are awesome. And kind of what you were saying about the metal, I knew there was some deep lore that I wasn't familiar with, so I couldn't wait for tonight. I'm like, okay, I know Deep's going to tell me what's up. Why was it doing that? But I thought that was really cool. With the fights, they were just so crazy. Like, it's what you want to see. And then also, I like that there was also kind of hand to hand mixed in.
Yeah, a lot of
what happens when you lose. Yeah, so it wasn't just sabers, this what happens when you lose like your saber, when you lose your weapon. Are you still actually a good fighter? How well are you trained? If you remember X2, X-Men United,
sure,
there's a part where that happens to Cyclops. His hand is pulled from his visor, and that was a purposeful thing, because he said the whole movie he watched himself and all he did was this. So he had that idea come up with, well, what happens if someone pulled it away? I need people to actually see that, he's a capable fighter. So that's what it kind of reminded me of, that you could see that, no, these are trained people. and they
Yeah.
threw down. It was great.
Yeah, I love the fact that the two greatest Star Wars fight sequence right now, well, not the two, but like the best Star Wars fight sequence right now, I would say, is with two Asian actors, and I think that's
Yep.
super hella cool. I think it's super hella cool. What are your thoughts, Laura?
I mean, yeah, like this is Star Wars would not exist if were it not for the entirety of the continent of Asia, from East Asia to South Asia to West Asia and North Africa, as well as like
Especially all those costumes.
Yep, yep.
That's so true.
Especially as well as like other indigenous tribes and such. Like I've heard previous episodes y'all talk about how you still see some of the appropriation here and there.
Sure.
What I will say in this show's defense, though, you have behind the scenes one of the most diverse and inclusive writers and directors rooms. You have a lot of East Asian writers, you have Black writers, and you have in this episode, Cora Adana, an amazing Turkish writer who did Mr. Robot as one of the co-writers. Yeah. So like finally, outside of the Obi-Wan series, which was initially written by British Iranian writer Hossein Amini, now you finally have more Swana creators in Star Wars, because it literally would not exist without our cultures. And like I say this as like Kurdish American Muslim, and just watching this series constantly appropriate from my region and getting to see like us actually creating it. That's amazing and wonderful, and especially this episode, again, like you said, these two amazing Asian actors, and just Manny Jacinto, genius performance. He's incredible,
so good,
so good. And I just think it's just like I at the Nerds of Color, shout out to my colleague and editor Laura Sirikul. She did some great interviews with Leslie Headland, talking about the Asian influence in Star Wars and the Acolyte. And Leslie Headland said herself that she wasn't like thinking that consciously of it, but the thing is, like, she just really embellished herself in the inspirations behind Star Wars and the cinema, the martial art cinema behind Star Wars. So it sort of like came to her naturally, like, oh yeah, like I'll do some of these like Hong Kong or East Asian martial arts films that I'll try to incorporate into my own series with the martial arts. It's just like, so it just like, by just simply embedding herself in that inspiration, she made it as inclusive as it should be. I love Leslie Headland. She's like, like she's one of my favorite creators. I loved Russian Doll, and I was so excited when I heard that she was doing The Acolyte, and I was not disappointed. It actually blew past my own expectations.
Okay, cool, man. I like hearing that. I agree. I think that was really, really cool. And I know you brought up Manny, but oh man, Manny did such an amazing job. I can't believe how jacked he got his arms. I thought that was freaking insane.
Darth Guns.
Darth Guns.
Like, he's out here just like, because he looked insane. He looked insane, and he held himself well. And I'll say what I said about Amanda last time, because sometimes when you watch actors, you can tell when they just really don't have it.
Yeah,
and some people really do. Like Hayden has always been really good with physical combat. Like they all threw down, especially Daphne. Like Daphne killed it. She did. Oh my gosh. But we couldn't expect anything less from her. Doing so, she was like what, 10, 11? How old was she in Logan? Like she was like little.
Yeah.
Like just taking everybody down.
Daphne Keane is amazing. By the way, have you all seen his Dark Materials that she started?
Yes.
So
I'm actually
good.
upset that I didn't realize it was her, because I purposely have not looked at anything online. I just wanted to watch the show and just enjoy it, just because I'm honestly, Obi-Wan burned me out, especially the way that they treated Moses Ingram, who played third sister. Just as a Black woman, I just was like, so done, so exhausted. So I haven't been looking anything up. I didn't watch the trailer. I knew it was coming out, and when someone told me it was on, like, okay, let me go put it on. Like that's it. I haven't known any background information. So I didn't look up any actors. So, but when I realized it was her, I was like, I know that voice. I didn't think of it, because I watched all the Dark Materials, and she was so good. Like she's an amazing actress.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
for sure, man. I thought that was really, really good. More stuff on the fighting. There are just some scenes that I have never seen before, and I was really excited. Number one, like, there's a scene where we get to see them shish kebab some Jedis, like that was insane. He basically stabs one guy with the lightsaber and then full forces the other one into that
Oh,
same lightsaber like a shish kebab. And I was like, what are they doing right
Yeah.
now? It's insane. And then
It's just like, okay, I'm gonna say something like, what I love about this shows, I mean, outside of the fighting, but also related to it, the Jedi are full of shit.
yeah.
The Jedi are so hypocritical and just
Yo,
like don't
10v1. He
stick to
got
the
taken out 10v1.
yeah. And it's like, yes, I care about these characters. I care about Yord, R.I.P. Yord, R.I.P. to
oh
the
my
real
gosh.
one, R.I.P. Lecky, and others. But the thing is, it's like, first off, they attacked Khmer, or vice. I mean, they were involved in a fight, so like,
Yeah.
but also, you could tell that's how great an actor Manny Jacinto is. That he had, even though we don't know the details, valid reasons for hating the Jedi as he does, for whatever they may have done to him or like
Mhm.
Yeah.
people like him, etc.
Mhm.
And you get it, you understand. It's like it's just like you see like at least hints of the Jedi's hypocrisies, of the knowledge. We know they did something really terrible to the Covenant.
Yeah.
I'm just
Mhm.
gonna say, like, a spoiler, somewhat spoiler esque, that I think they just straight up killed the Coven of Mayanosha's
Mhm.
family. Like, I
That's-
I think that's
Mhm.
what
That's a theory.
happened.
Yeah.
Honestly, I
Um,
agree here.
yeah. So it's just like, it was just kind of cathartic to see the Jedi in this instance get like pegged down. I know that sounds terrible to say after how brutal it was. I know, but like, just in terms of like the beats of the storytelling that Leslie was going for, I'm like, yes, you were a bad guy, but also I get it. As
I was
terrible
like,
as that sounds to say.
it's really weird because like I love the Jedi. And this whole episode, I have never been on their side. I don't know if I've been radicalized by like defund the police or what's going on right now. But they're how
A
cocky
jab.
a jab. How copy they seem. Like I don't fuck with them. It's really funny. And then you got the scene where he's like, "You killed her. She was just a girl." He's like, "Motherfucker, you brought her here."
That was a
Like
good point.
you brought a child to a war. Like she's like you have child soldiers. Like you guys are the ones that are doing what's wrong. And then like Jackie out here going, "You have the right to remain silent," while she's kicking his ass like a freaking right, reading the Miranda rights at the Jedi. And I was like, man, this is such a cop show, and that's why I don't fuck with y'all.
Yeah, and she wasn't very smart about it. When she was trying to arrest May, she started talking before she had the cuffs fully on her. I was
I
like, girl, what are you
know.
doing?
She was really like, oh,
Goodness.
I gotta read the rights, or else like it won't hold up in a court of law, like something stupid like that.
Yeah, and to
So
Sora's earlier point, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, I completely agree with that because they made a point about something that Soul specifically did, and him pointing out to Osha, you don't even know who he is.
Yeah.
You can't trust him. And I was waiting for May to bring it up when they were. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead. But I was waiting for May to basically do the review.
Mm-hmm.
But now I think we're at a point where, which tends to happen in stories, when there's a secret, you learn it in the worst possible way from the worst possible person, as opposed to learning it from the person who actually harmed you. So she can't have that conversation with Soul. She's going to learn from Manny's character, like whenever they wake up, wherever they, go.
Yeah. We'll see. Another thing that I really wanted to bring out is they did this move where he threw the lightsaber and it twirled in a circle while it was still on and just cut down a whole bunch of trees and all this stuff.
Yeah.
That if you play the games Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen, that's a move. That's a move
Yeah.
you have to buy to use, which is so cool to see.
So speaking of games, like, I mean, it reminded me, I play a lot of Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, which is a relatively old game, came back out in 2003. Love that game. I think it's the most immersive Jedi experience, honestly. But also another game this reminds me of, some of y'all may have played it back in the day, Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords, which delves into such deep moral ambiguities and also shows how the Jedi are full of shit.
Yeah.
It's set like, thousands of years ago, like Old Republic era. And that's also what I really enjoyed in the sequel trilogy in The Last Jedi. But then the Rise of Skywalker happened, and I'm like, okay, none of that actually even mattered. So but still, I hold on to Knights of the Old Republic 2, the Sith Lords, and specifically the character of Kreia, or Darth Treya.
Yeah.
And just like what she was talking about, the hypocrisies of the Jedi, like why the dogma is just so destructive in many ways. And I feel like we're seeing that here. I would almost be willing to bet that Leslie Headland may have played that game and have been inspired. Or
I
at least,
wouldn't be surprised.
yeah, or at least like she was definitely inspired by The Last Jedi, which I would also
Yeah,
commend her for.
that's good. What did you guys think of the May versus Jackie fight, Christine?
So, no, I like that. I lost my train of thought. No, they did go to hand in hand for a little bit, but it was funny when she found the saber and Jackie was so like offended. You took his saber?
Yeah.
And I already told you, like the one part that really annoyed me is when she was trying to arrest her before she
Me
was
too.
fully engaged. And then I was trying to figure out how May would react, because initially her plan was to give herself up, but then she's caught with another dead body and just like, all hell breaks loose. So they're going at it, and sometimes I was wondering if she actually really was going to kill Jackie or not. She had the knife there. I'm like, okay, it looks like she probably is really trying, but at some points I'm like, is she just gonna knock her down and run away, or like, how is she gonna try to handle it, or is her plan just out the window now because he's trying to kill her, and they've seen her with another dead body? Because remember, she said she had information that she thought was valuable enough that she could get away with it, or at least that they wouldn't the Jedi wouldn't kill her right away. So whatever this is, she still has it. So we'll see. But them going head to head, that was really good.
I remember the way it starts off is Jackie jumps out of frame and drop kicks May like a WWE move, and I was like, that was so cool. That was out of everyone fighting, like I feel like it's Manny and then Jackie just like really was probably the highlight of the fighting scenes.
No, definitely. I agree. What was funny to me is that I know that May has some degree of like force awareness. So I was surprised when she like looked out and was all careful that Jackie was able to come out of nowhere and just like get her like that. But she did. And I wouldn't want to fight Jackie. It really took somebody as strong as that other guy. Oh gosh, it's so traumatizing.
And he even said that, like, I wish, like, now that's a pupil. He was like, he was hyping her up. He's like, that's someone who's a pupil. I'm gonna kill her, but I respect her.
I respect it.
So I was watching the episode on Tuesday with my fiance, who hasn't watched any of the episodes, but she was like, oh well, I'll just watch it with you. And that was like her first intro to this show, and she was just still so gripped by it. And when that scene happened, the 3 lightsaber stabs on Jackie, like she gasped. We both gasped, and it was just like...
Listen, I knew a lot of the NPC Jedis were gonna die, but like I didn't see like Jordan and Jackie dying. I was like, whoa. So you can't call this show predictable, because I don't think that's something a lot of people saw. That you can't do that. And even if you think like the reveal was predictable, I don't think that's a real reveal. I don't think the audience was supposed to like not know he was going to be Darth Smiley or whoever he is. Right?
Darth Teeth.
Darth Gun, Darth Teeth, whoever this guy is.
Yeah, no, I think whatever
Smilo
Soul
Ren.
really did, Smilo Ren. I think whatever Soul did, I think whatever the Jedi, whatever atrocity the Jedi had a hand in, that's the real big mystery. That's gonna be the real shock and all, and that's what I've been waiting for.
Right?
Because they kind of knew that for the reveal of who the Sith was, for it to mean anything, he had to have already been in the show.
Yeah.
So as much as everyone has all this lore about who other, Sith Lords were, it wouldn't make sense for a television show that's not meant for only the hardcore fans to have all this lore knowledge. You know what I mean? It has to make sense narratively from what we've seen. So I
Yeah.
did like your idea
Yeah.
when you said it might be like maybe one of the moms survived or whatever, but for it to be
Mhm.
him, it just made sense
It
where the way the
does.
story was going.
It does make sense. And the thing
Yeah.
is, like, when you have 8 episodes, you're right. You can't introduce somebody who's not been in an episode. That would just be a cop out, right? So you
Yeah.
don't want to do that. That's more for like a 20 episode show where you just hide somebody in the background and then you're like, oh, it was him all along, right? Or like a few seasons of a show where there's a mystery. It doesn't work
And
that
this,
way in eight episodes.
and this is what I love about this show is that it can, I feel like, at least that it can stand on its own. That while it does certainly touch upon, lines of dialogue and themes that we've seen in other Star Wars media, it doesn't rely on them. It can stand on its own. It references them perhaps, and maybe it'll have implications for them like in the future or something like that. But
Yeah.
for what it is, this is telling a personal, raw story about these twins and their mentors and like the grip that these institutions have on them, the tug and pull of that,
Yeah.
the hypocrisies. And it's just like, it feels so relevant. I said this like in about why though YouTube review I did with Adrian and Kyle, like about why though. Y'all should check that out. But to get real for a second, this is a moment, and Neebs, you touch upon this, like this is a moment where we feel in the real world so many of the institutions we were brought up to believe in and we're told stand for goodness and human rights, etc., are failing really miserably, specifically with Gaza. And it's it just speaks to this catharsis of we don't have to rely on these institutions necessarily anymore, and or
Right.
maybe we shouldn't necessarily believe in them as much as we did before, and we need something new. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. Is reform is the name of the game. Yeah, I totally agree. But the other thing I wanted to talk about, we talked a little bit about mysteries, and one of the mysteries I feel like that I'm really interested in is how does Kamar know Soul? He says, "You know me." He's like someone familiar, and I don't think he meant familiar as in, oh, you met me in the shop a day earlier. I think he meant like there is a tie between them. Something happened between them. It's also interesting how his helmet does not let him read his mind, which is a new thing to the lore because that's never been anything before. Number one, we didn't know if Jedis could read minds like that, and number two, we didn't know a helmet can, prevent it like Magneto.
Yes, exactly. I was about
I was
to
going
say
to bring that up
yes.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really think that either he was there. It feels like he was there when it happened, meaning when Osha and May lost their families. It
Yeah.
feels like, however he knows them, and that's how he was able to bring in May, and that's how, maybe even how he found her. But something happened that he was a witness to, or that he survived barely. And it wouldn't make sense to bring it's kind of going back to what I said before. It wouldn't make sense to bring a whole completely separate story at this point, with only 3 episodes left. So it just seems like it has to be a part of what happened with the witches. Like when we
Right.
find out what really happened, he was a witness, or maybe he's the reason why May survived, or well, no, because we saw May out in the woods by herself. But she's an 8-year-old kid. She's not gonna live. She's not gonna live on her own without finding somebody else. So something happened. And I want to know. But yeah, he was definitely involved.
Yeah, my impression was that maybe he was one of Soul's old apprentices and Soul betrayed him. It could have nothing to do with the witches, but I don't know. I guess we will see.
That's what I like about it.
I did have that thought.
Yeah, that's what I like about it, because I feel like there's nothing obvious that's happening. Like one of the things that's obvious is like, oh, they killed them all, right? But we don't know why they killed them all. That's the mystery, right? Like what led them to do it? Why did this happen? And how does this person Kamir relate to everybody? I think that's the mystery. And I feel like if they can deliver a good, satisfying way to tie all this together, I'll take back everything I've said bad about the show, and I'd be like, "Yo, they got me. They got me in the end." Because I feel like that's what the show hinges on a little bit, right? That great mystery is all held together by the actual ending and the reveal. So I'm really really excited about that, and I have hope, man. I have hope. I definitely have hope. So we'll see where it goes. But yes, I definitely like that. I really want to know what makes Kamar tick, because he really is like, when you see him act, he's not just like, oh, I want the Jedis to die. Like, he's like tormented, and he's like, I need a pupil. Like, it's something he wants so passionately, and I don't know why. And maybe it's because the Sith have this rule of two, and he needs a pupil to not be a pupil anymore. I don't know how the lore works, right? But I'm very very excited to find out. But he is probably like the character I'm most hyped about. And like, if I hit the gym, maybe I can cosplay him next year to get the arms day every day.
I think I want to cosplay him.
Right?
Shit, yeah.
It's
Damn, that's like, I can't believe how much the series is getting me back into Star Wars.
I would definitely do May. I've never cosplayed before, but if I did, it would be May.
Yeah,
she has a better outfit. So
yeah, she has an
like, that's
interesting
so
outfit.
cool.
The costume
Also-
design on the show is great. We have to admit.
So good.
Even if it does appropriate here and there, we can admit.
But like, I also like when we saw the Osha within that like really bad outfit, and I was like, oh, why they put her in that, and why they do that trope? But now it makes sense, because if she was wearing something more darker, we wouldn't be able to relate to that switch as easy. It's like, you know, they played a lot with the lighting. In fact, even in the whole like Sistine, like a lot of people like complain like the fight was too dark. I didn't mind it, because the lightsabers look so much cooler in the dark, and they have these like trees when they were cut in half. You see the trees glow orange, and it just like gave this like lava feel. And then you see these like pores on the floor that were also orange. Like, they were playing around with these colors, and they just looked so cool, and I really really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was well lit. I don't think this was a House of the Dragon on the beach situation. At all. I think that there's deliberate use of lighting and the colors of the lightsaber. And again, I really feel as though a lot in the show is very deliberate. And this is like, sorry, I'm going to get a spiel here, but like, I've seen people complain like, oh, you know, that, and I think y'all have said this too, so I don't mean to call y'all out, that the dialogue isn't as good, or it's like, you know, reminiscent of like other Star Wars, which like, you know, it's a fair critique, but like, honestly, for me, I'm so enraptured by the show, because I can tell that every single thing is so deliberate, that there's so much thought put into it. And I guess without naming names, I feel like there have been no, I'll name names, like something like The Mandalorian, which I used to watch but stopped watching around the beginning of season 2, and I watched 1 or 2 episodes of season 3, but I was like, no, I can't do this. I don't think that has necessarily a lot of thought put into it, or like long-term thinking put into it. I don't think Jon Favreau is the best writer, or Dave Filoni for that matter, when it comes to live action. I know that's so blasphemous of me to say, come at me, but that's just my opinion. And I think that what Leslie Headland has put into the thought of the Acolyte, I can tell there's so much thinking for the future. There's so much thinking for that. And I might eat my words, but I don't think I will, for that hinge resolution. And I'm just so happy. Like, this is what I want in my Star Wars. This is what I want.
Well, that's what I like about Star Wars, right? There's something for everyone, right? Like, if it's not for me and I'm not feeling it, I'm glad other people are enjoying it. I don't understand these people that get so mad at other people liking something. Like, it makes no sense to me. I feel like
It's exhausting.
It's so exhausting.
Like,
it's crazy.
You got nothing else better to do with your life? Gosh, I can't be bothered with that. No, I definitely am loving the show, and I really don't care what anyone else thinks. Like, I'm here for it.
Yeah, exactly. And I get that. Like, I'm all about, like, when someone says like this show makes me happy, like, there's nothing in my body that would make me want to like shit on that for you. Like, I want you to be happy. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, I'm happy for you, right? But like, again, like you know, like, you don't like The Mandalorian. I love The Mandalorian.
Sure.
I know that one hurt. I was like, oh.
I love it.
That's just my opinion. I don't want to shit on like,
Yeah.
like that's just my, like, here's the thing. It's like, we can have these different opinions. And the other thing is like, I said this again and again, that if you genuinely love something, you can accept that other people have critiques of it.
Absolutely.
Like, y'all accept I have critiques of The Mandalorian. I accept that y'all have critiques of The Acolyte. I accept and hear them out, but it's also not going to affect my own personal enjoyment of the series, nor vice versa for The Mandalorian. And I think we just need to be able to get to this place of like not taking things so personally. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I feel like it comes with a level of maturity that just does not seem to exist online.
It does not
and
exist
a level of
online.
like just human interaction. Like, you know what I mean? Because we can talk to each other and we treat each other as people. You know, like I might just met you tonight, but I'm not gonna like take offense to you not liking something that I don't like or try to tear you down for it. Just, you know, that doesn't make sense to me why people treat others like that. But that's what it seems to be happening online, is that you're not talking to a person. You're just spouting whatever they feel like. I don't know. Maybe they have a bad day or they hate their lives and they're taking it out online.
And to take this, to like people online who are complaining so much about the Acolyte review bombing it. We know the type who are doing that. And I'm just sitting here thinking, if you really hate it that much, don't talk about it. Don't watch it. Like, you're adding to its views. Like, just you're kind of giving it free airtime. So like, what's the point? Like, I don't talk about the things I'll if I have to review something, or like if I feel passionately about something such as Indiana Jones and its Orientalism and racism against Wanasa peoples, then I'll like talk about that. But like, other than that, like, I'll just be like, enjoy what you like, you know. So, or don't enjoy it.
But there's also this like idea of like, hey, if I get people riled up, I'll go viral, I'll make money. And when you like add capitalism to like being anonymous and rage baiting and stuff like that, like it's a recipe for disaster, right? So
the rage farmers.
And then like as soon as you like deplatform some of these people or like demonetize some of these people, they don't want to talk about this stuff anymore, because if they're not making money off of it, it's not worth their energy, it's not worth their effort. You like, oh yeah, you can still have a YouTube, 100%. But you're not gonna make money off of it. Like, well, then I'm not going to make these kind of videos, right? So I don't know, I just find it really, really funny. So we talk about I still want to talk more about Kimura, because I feel like there's so much good stuff there, man. There's this part where Jackie comes in and she has the 2 blades, right? That scene where she's blocking him with 1 blade. Oh my god, Ahsoka vibe. It just looked really, really cool. But then we see him use the same move on her, because he didn't know his hilt was detachable, and he has 2. And then he just has this pose and his face gets revealed. But out of everyone, she's the only one that knocked his helmet off, because she didn't use her lightsaber to knock it off. She used her elbow to just drive into it and knock it over, which I thought was really, really cool. The Jackie fight was just great. I really, really loved
smart.
Jackie. It was.
She was really clever. That's what I like about fighting, because sometimes when you get into fight for choreography, because I actually do like fighting and martial arts and movies a lot. Sometimes you can tell where things are happening just because the plot needs it to happen. Versus actually saying, okay, if this person is that great of a fighter, what would it take for someone else to be able to beat them? You know what I mean? And like show that in the choreography and reflect that. And I think they really did a great job with that, of actually following through. And it was actually funny in that moment we were talking about, she had 2. For a moment, I'm like, where did she get the other one from? I forgot that she had the one that she took off of May. Kanakas. And then like her showing intelligence, and even the same thing when York comes in later, for them to actually pick up those clues that we've seen that this metal does X, Y, and Z. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. It's not just going to be his, even though it's his weapon, it's not going to just be good for him anymore. I can use that against him as well.
You know what I want to do? I want to like do a screen reaction to the fight as if I was a WWF commentator. Be like, oh my God, he slashed her through the thing. He decapitated the man. By God, that man had a family. Like something really religious. I think that would be so funny.
That would be so funny. I could never do that. I could just be the I could introduce them. And in this corner. With Darth Guns, aka Darth Smiley, Smilo Ren.
From parts
It's too
unknown.
soon.
All right, but let's talk like a little more about Commit. Like, I'm wondering. I mean, okay, I think I've seen in interviews and others confirm that he is basically a Sith.
He's a Sith. Yeah, they have.
But I know people have been speculating like, oh, what if he's like a Knight of Ren? What if he's I know. What do y'all think about that?
I like the Knight of Ren theory. I feel like it's pretty exciting and it's pretty cool. I think a lot of people might be mad about it. I don't know, cause like people, but it would be so sweet because people want to see Knights of Ren so badly, and like for it to show up on a show that they're all hating would be so sweet irony. I would love it. It would be so funny to me. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I'm not deep enough in the lore to know what that is. So I think
Basically, like the group that Kylo Ren comes from,
Yeah.
okay.
because
So he would
Kylo
be like-
Ren's not a Sith technically.
Yeah, so he would be like the first one, right? He would be the first Ren. So, and he's in the you see it in the comics a lot, and I think there might be some in the video games. But yeah, I would really like that. I think that would be really cool, and that would be really adding to the lore because we don't know anything about the Knights of Ren, like
If they
in
did something,
canon.
if they did that though, I just feel like for the fans who are like me, who just enjoy Star Wars or don't know everything, they
Yeah.
need to have that, like, either it's going to go through and he's the only survivor, because I do think that he might be the only person that survives this
Yeah.
at the end, and show how like this new group comes about. Does he start it? Is it already around? What's going on with it? But
Mhm.
yeah, I would love to see like that kind of expansion, because then is he going to be in more projects later on? Like, I honestly think everyone who's like Jedi affiliated is just not going to make it,
Yeah.
because either that or there's going to be something within the Jedi that they kept this knowledge closed for it to
Mm,
make sense within what's happened in the prequels. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because I believe that everyone's talking about that clip where we just saw it once or twice, where Sam Jackson's character, Mace Windu, I believe,
Mhm. Yeah.
where he says there hasn't been a Sith over 1,000 years.
Oh, not
Oh,
Mace Windu, the Keon
no,
guy, right?
Kayadi
Is it Kayadi?
Mundi, yeah.
Yeah,
I
Keon
believe-
Mundi. He said it to Mace Windu. Yeah, so that's
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So can I just say, and Neves, I messaged you about this. Something else, like it's what like I mean I appreciate valid critique. I am a critic, but like this is not a valid critique to
No.
me.
No,
Like,
it isn't. It
of
isn't.
like people like complaining that Kai Adimundi being in that episode and
Oh,
working
that.
with Seth, like that breaks canon, and that's like a cardinal sin, and audiences are gonna recognize this. And I'm just like thinking, what are you talking about?
It's
What is
like-
going on?
like
Look
I
like there's
do not.
something to complain about.
I do not care. Like honestly, the
Like,
explanation
what?
could be he's a dumb motherfucker, and I would be like, yeah, sure,
Yes.
fine.
Sure, like just, but
I
I'm
don't
just
care.
like, I'm just like, again, I appreciate critiques like you and Jazz have, and you, Christine, like that I've heard. But just wild to me some of the extents they'll go to try to like take the show down.
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
shows to me the depths of their insecurity.
Yeah, yeah.
So
No, that's true.
Insanity,
this
instability.
So speaking of critiques that I have, something I feel like that didn't land was when they got those bugs to fight off Kimar. And like I feel like I really saw that coming. They set it up in the last episode. And then they kind of, she took Pip, she puts them on him, and then he gets taken away by all these guys, these little, not spider monkeys, but I don't know what they were. I forgot what they were called. That did not connect with me. I felt like that was like you could see that Umber Moth. Yeah, I felt like you could see that coming from a mile away. I didn't love that. And then people are saying, "Oh, that's really cool because she defeated a Sith without using a weapon." And I was like, "No, you had to kill a Sith without a weapon." So it didn't really add anything to it. It got them away for a little while. But it's like you knew something like that was going to happen. I think Christine, we talked about it last time. We
We
kind of
did. I thought about you when it happened. I was like, oh, these was gonna be
I was like, this is exactly what's gonna happen. And then when it happened, I was like, ugh, I kind of saw that
I
coming. Didn't
actually
need that.
thought it wouldn't. I didn't think she would use it. I thought it would happen against them.
Yeah.
But I'm also not. I don't need everything to be a surprise. You know what I mean? I just need things to make sense.
Yeah, I agree with
So
that.
so not not so like
Like
completely
it just came off
invalidate
a
what you're
little.
saying.
Yeah, it came off a little tropey to me, and I was like,
Yeah,
the thing is, the show is good, but like for some reason, it relies on these tropes for some reason, which it doesn't need. Like even the one with like her wearing that like outfit, and she's like, "I'm never gonna wear that outfit." Cut to next scene, wearing that outfit.
yeah.
Like I told you, I hate that, but like now we know why she needed to wear that outfit, but we didn't need that comedy thing for it. We could have just had her wear the outfit and not tell us why. Like it would have
Like
I
been
it's
feel like
fine.
it's
too
a
on the
part of
nose, maybe.
Yeah, too on
a
the
part
nose.
of Star Wars charm is that it's so like that sometimes. Like, it's just there's like it's almost as if it's for kids, but this one, I mean, they show
Yeah.
some deaths where it's really not for kids, but they
Yeah.
still have that overall feel that it kind of reminds you of the prequels, that it has that same feel, almost like it
Yeah.
was done on purpose to like
Yeah.
kind of go in line with like how the Star Wars universe is set up. So it's
Yeah.
not super dark and dramatic like Andor was. It seemed like it was
Sure.
trying to. That's why the deaths like traumatized. That wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like it was going to be not light because people, she is killing Jedi,
Yeah.
but it didn't seem we would lose anybody on the good side that we really cared about. It didn't seem like it would go there.
Listen,
It seemed a little too light for that, but they
let's
said,
talk.
nah.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what you just brought up because Yord, we barely knew ye. Like, bro,
I take back what I said about your hair. You can have whatever hair you want, Yord. Okay, I'm so
we
sorry.
barely knew you. Like, I was waiting for his redemption. He was such like the lame character, and I was like, all right, he's gonna get a dope redemption. He's gonna be super cool. And then like and the thing is, like, he's such a rule follower, and the one time he doesn't follow the rule, he dies.
Gets his neck snapped.
Why is not what it said?
Brutal.
Oh man,
I was thinking
Brutal.
too, they're walking back. If they would have just went to the ship, but
Yeah.
then would Soul have survived? Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
oh,
No, I totally get it. And him using the helmet, I thought that was really cool. But man, I was like, I it's too soon, man. He didn't get that like amazing arc I thought he was gonna get. He died too soon.
he didn't have an amazing arc, but he did come back. I felt like in that fight, they finally got to show what like that he is deserving of being a Jedi Knight.
Yeah.
So, he didn't have as big of a fight scene as Jackie did, but
Yeah.
like when he came out of nowhere again using the helmet against him, it was great. So like his little 5 seconds like was pretty good. It wasn't good enough. Because, like,
I know.
I'm still traumatized by that. I was like, what? He should have to draw things out. Like when he had the saber to May's head and just all
Yeah.
the monologuing.
Mhm.
But no, just snapped his neck.
Yo, that
Bravo.
was
R.I.P.
insane.
That was not right.
Now
So
that's
sad.
like, listen, I know we're talking about
Right
twists
after
in the
Jackie.
show. At least that's one twist that people can't complain they saw coming.
Oh my gosh. And then
Oh,
then
Neebs.
I can't get over that they left all those bodies. They left they just everybody.
Bodies
They just
on
left
the
everybody.
Oh,
floor.
yeah, no one got like a proper Jedi funeral.
No one got a funeral. No one even got like a regular just bury the body there.
No.
Just no, we gotta go.
Kelnaka just rotting on his chair. Like, what the hell?
Oh gosh,
Oh,
Jackie and
man.
George just on the floor.
Yeah. So the other thing is, we did see Kamir mention something about, what they did to her, and he goes to Soul like, you didn't tell her. And then once they're safe, Osha asked Soul about it, and he's like, well,
Mhm.
I'll tell you later or whatever. And we didn't get to see it. I think that's what I'm most excited about. I'm most excited to see
Yes.
what that is. I
Mhm.
think that's going to be really, really cool. But he was like, and now here's the thing where like I have another critique. After the fight happens, after the bugs carry him off, we see that Soul's on the floor and he's knocked out, right? And then we cut to a scene with Osha and May, and they're in a completely different location, and there's no Soul. They didn't drag him. They left him. They decided to go somewhere else to have this, because they're literally facing each other. Soul's on the floor, cut to a next scene. They're in a completely different location, and they're talking like away from each other. So like, I'm wondering, like, did a scene get cut, or was there something? Because that felt so disorienting to me. And then when they have their conversation, I'm like, this is it. We're gonna have the reveal. She's gonna call him out. She's gonna say she didn't do this. We're gonna understand something. Like, we understood nothing. We understood nothing from that conversation.
Well, I mean, sorry, I gotta push back a little bit on that, because like, I don't think that scene was necessarily meant to be about that. It was about these sisters reconnecting. It's about
I don't even
them.
think they reconnected that well. I
think they did. I think, like, or at least May wanted that reconnection. You know, like hugging her sister, saying it's okay. You know, what we assumed before about like each other being dead, it's not that, and we can actually like have a new beginning, because this is like the inflection point really for their journey. It's that May can start to let go of her anger, because her thinking about Osha being dead, like, and that's not the case. She can just, she still has family. She still like has a home to go back to when she thought it was completely destroyed by the Jedi. And I think that's like really meaningful. I think that Osha or May wasn't thinking, oh, I gotta tell her, like, you know, the truth now. What matters is that we're together, and that's all that's really going to matter, and we can start over from here. But it's Osha who, like, you know, still doesn't trust May, and May, you know, increasingly feels betrayed by that. So I could see it again through Amanda's performance, like the back and forth about that. So I do understand your frustration. I absolutely do. Like, you feel like, you know, they're just pulling it out as much as they can, but in this moment, it kind of did work for me. So
I don't know.
that's my 2 cents.
I don't disagree with May's portion of it, but I do feel like Osha wasn't receptive of it, and her not being receptive of it wasn't like, it didn't come off right. Like, even when they were hugging, I felt like the hug was way too long, and it kind of like, and when she reacted to it, it was like it came off awkward, and I didn't love the way that scene came out. And then after the scene ends, we go back and Soul's somewhere else. And I'm just like, did they just like casually walk over towards a cliff to have this conversation? Like, I didn't get that. Christine, what are your thoughts?
So I was thinking that I understand what they were trying to do and what you're saying, Swar, but I kind of agree with Neves more, because I don't think it was in the execution of it. It feels like you have to fill in the gaps a little bit too much to kind of get what you got out of it, only because the dialogue was frustrating for me.
Yes.
Especially when she was saying, oh, they brainwash you, but I can fix you. Girl, if you think someone's brainwashed, you think you can't tell someone who's crazy that they're crazy. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how you respond. If you truly think that she's like been brainwashed, you know, try to talk her down. We can figure this. Didn't match what I guess what the goal actually was. So I do like the fact that she wanted to be with her sister. I do agree that she didn't want to reconnect with her sister, but I just don't think the way that it happened made any sense, or like there was no way it was going to happen with the way she was acting. And then for you to brush off things that she obviously meant, like she was upset that you killed a Jedi, and you go, they deserved it. But like Neve said, you're not telling me why they deserved it. You know what I mean? So it's like you're not giving me. Yeah, you're not giving me what I need to have this resolved and for us to reconnect the sisters.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so, and for her to like throw it away, they just like this to, hey, they deserved it, as opposed to, listen, I know I did all stuff that you don't agree with, but like you're alive and I didn't know that. I just want to start over from somewhere, you know. And I don't know. I'm trying to think. Do I want them to be more mature than they are? How old are they? They're like in their early 20s. Like, you know, I guess someone that young wouldn't have the articulation or emotional intelligence to really say that.
Yeah.
But it was frustrating because I see what they were trying to do, but now go ahead. It was just the execution for me.
I totally agree with you. And when you did the dialogue, I feel like there were like hints of dialogue that could have been like really welcome. When you talk about you have a false master, you're like, well, you have a false master. Like, if they just gave us a little bit of a reveal there, I felt like it would have been more satisfying. But it looked like they were having a conversation and not saying anything they haven't said to each other already. Like, we knew all this already. We knew this. There was nothing new added to this. And then she gets knocked out. I did dig the haircut. I thought the haircut was cool. People were complaining about the haircut. I thought it was cool. I don't care.
Complaining
that
about
looked
it?
man.
that looked hella cool to me. I don't
I
care
was
what
like, what is she doing? I don't know why. I didn't realize what she was doing. I was like, I know she's not gonna kill herself. So what's happening here? And then when she yeah, like that, and the hair flows back. I was like, oh yes, girl. I was
The
like,
girl
oh,
not-
that's what we're doing.
Does she not remember she had a huge ass tattoo right on her forehead though? Like,
Well, she has the bangs. That's why the
Yeah.
bangs are plot armor.
The
Because they both had bangs the whole time. Yeah, no, the bangs are the plot armor because Carrie Ann Moss wasn't sure. She had an inkling,
Yeah.
but that's why she purposely like reached out
Yep.
to touch her
moved
forehead.
it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No.
I'm so surprised that she was only in like 2 episodes. I'm like, wait a minute, y'all got her on the posters. What?
Yeah. She's a big get, but no, they didn't. All right, and then so I think that's where they lost me. I feel like up to then I was like super into it, and then I was like, I think they missed a great opportunity to do the reveal there. They might do the reveal later. Maybe there's reason for it. I don't know. There's probably is reason for it. I'm sure they're smart enough to do it at the right time. But man, if they just gave me like a morsel of something new there, I would have been
Even a
much
partial
happier,
reveal.
right? Yeah.
Like even if
Yeah,
she
probably
would have said
false
something a
reveal
little
would've
bit
been good,
different,
yeah.
Or even a
like
false
you know what he
reveal,
did.
right? Like
A
even
false
like she believes something, and then later on we find out
Mhm.
it wasn't true. Like even if it was a false reveal, I would have been like, oh yes, we got something. But I felt like we didn't get anything there, and it felt like it was hyped up for nothing. Not hyped up, but it just like felt a little more dramatic than it actually ended up being. But
Mhm.
she gets knocked out. Like how? Like what did she do? Get like stunned or something? Like
It's a stun gun.
stun gun,
It's like
right?
step
Yeah.
phasers to stun. Like, every time she shoots it, somebody gets knocked out.
Yeah.
Because Soul was down. She had the decimate, I think twice, maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she ends up, putting on her uniform and whatever, and then just leaves her there, and
Yeah.
I'm like, you love your sister and all this stuff, and you kind of just like leave her there in the middle of the woods, and Kimura's still here somewhere. He's not dead. So I'm like, okay, what's going on here? I'm sure there's going to be a reveal. I'm sure it's going to do the purpose to it, but I did not love, like, let's just do a parent trap real quick. I didn't love that.
The switch I don't mind.
Oh, sorry. I just want to say, I think that like May was just trying to run away from Khmer. Like that was like her reason for taking Osha's place at that point.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
then
the
she
switch
loved her
I don't
sister.
mind. Yeah, no, I was gonna say that too. The switch I don't mind because you already know that they know because Basil was like, oh, that's not the right scent, because Basil has Pip, but at the same time, Yor could speak Basil's language, so can Soul understand Basil? But that's more where lost me than the conversation. So I'm like, how you just leave her? I don't understand why you just left her there.
Yeah.
You just believe that Khmer's not going to kill. Like, I get it. You're upset that you feel like she betrayed you and she didn't choose you. So is this you completely just like, no, I'm not choosing you either? Like, are you just walking away from her completely? Or like, did you just have faith that because she never betrayed Khmer, that Khmer wouldn't like harm her? So like, I just need to know why she just left her.
I mean,
there.
Khmer harmed a lot of people he never met before.
Exactly. But he actually, because what happened? He left Jackie. Remember?
Yeah.
He was more so going after May for betraying him.
That is true.
So
also,
he showed up.
Also, Khmer did mention like to Soul, like, hey, you attack somebody from behind. That's not very Jedi like. It's kind of to show the Jedi that kind of bullshit. And like they all really attacked him first, if you think about it. They pulled out their lightsabers, and a Jedi doesn't pull out their lightsaber unless they intend to use them.
But he had his turn on too, because when he floats down, he floats, and then they're telling her to run. And he turns his on, so they're like ready to protect.
You're right. Never mind.
But one thing is interesting that I forgot I wanted to bring up earlier, kind of to Sora's point earlier. He knows so much about the Jedi, right? He knows that he's quoting Jedi rules. Oh, you're not supposed to be able to do this. You're not supposed to do that. Like, you guys have so many rules to follow. Look, I don't make the rules. You guys do. So, he either like if he ends up having been like a Padawan or something, or just maybe he was a youngling who got out. I don't know, but he does know a lot about the Jedi for him to be the only one, because he doesn't seem like he has a master. We don't know. We'll find out what it is, but like he just has a lot of knowledge. I want to know where he got it from.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if he has a master, but if he's looking for a pupil, that means he wants to be a master, right? So maybe he wants to kill his. Because that's the thing with the Sith, man. They they're all about killing their masters. That's kind of what they're doing, or their Padawans. They're just going back and forth, right? They're like a reality show.
He might not follow the like rules that we have established like 100 years later, because he's saying, oh well, you call me Sith, but I just want to be able to fight any kind of way that I want to fight, use my powers the way I want to use them. And maybe he's lonely because that's why he wants a pupil. And he wants to be able to share this with somebody. So it might not be following the rule of too much as just like, I just want someone else, with me, loyal to me.
That's true. Do you guys think Soul knows she's the right sister? Because when he wakes up, he goes, "Where's your sister?" He doesn't say, "Where's Osha?" He doesn't say, "Where's May?" He says, "Where's your sister?"
He does after though, because when he says, "Where's your sister?" and then May says, "Who?" and he says May.
Oh, he does.
And then she says, "Oh, she's gone." So I think he was disoriented. I don't think he knew, because I don't see why he would play the long game. He wouldn't leave her there.
Yeah,
I don't
think. No, sorry, you finish.
No, I was just gonna say I don't think he would leave Osha there if he knew that Osha was like on the ground with
you're right,
running around. He wouldn't leave her there.
And May would be adept at clouding her mind and her true identity and stuff. So yeah.
True. All right. So we get left off with Basil kind of going into the ship and supposedly something's going to happen, but that's where the episode kind of leaves off. Are you satisfied the way with the episode ended? Did you want it more? Did you want it less? Did you want it something different?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So it's not that I want it more or less. It's just I want to know what was going through May's mind and what her plan is. I guess like narratively it makes sense for it to leave off the way. I feel like it could have got there a little bit cleaner.
Yeah.
Like a little bit, and they could have got there in a more satisfying way.
Yeah.
Or even if she just like talked over her, like he will never harm you. Something. Just it would have took 2 seconds for her to like, you'll be safe because he'll know you're not me. Something. And then she used to go like, I don't know, take her revenge in the Jedi or infiltrate them for whatever. Yeah. But I'm really interested in what Quamir, because he was very gentle.
Yeah, he was
the cloak over her.
He's like, we're amazing.
Very interesting to me.
He was like, we're amazing beings and like we're remarkable creatures. And then he heals her. I think he heals her. And then he puts he's like so loving. I was like, how could you be mad at that? Over. Damn,
the shippers are already going for this one.
I know.
Tell y'all.
I was thinking not shipping, just maybe he'll think maybe that's the better sister. Like if he can reveal, that's why I think he's going to reveal whatever the secret is. Whatever the mystery is, whatever Soul did, and then try to draw her in. And so I don't know if she's going to struggle with the dark side, but she's going to struggle with whatever the reveal is.
What if they switch? What if
yes.
Mace,
this is my prediction. My prediction is that they're going to switch sides by the end of the season. And
I would be so hyped. I would eat all my words. I would eat my words if that happened. I'd be so hyped.
And Leslie Headland herself said that she only knew she had one season to tell a story in. If she doesn't get a second or third season, I really hope she does. I really hope. Any show I love, I need at least 3 seasons. Beginning, middle, end. But already, like, this is a great season. I'll always love it. But anyway, no. But if it ends with them switching, and the next season deals with the repercussions of that, and that's what's so fascinating about this show. For me, I mean, again, the reveal, the conclusion, obviously that hinges a lot for you, Neebs, and a lot of people. But for me, not to get corny, but like literally it is the journey over the destination for me, and that's where it would end, with them switching places, because this is telling a morally complex story, again, about these individuals and these institutions that it feels like it's saying something. It feels like it's telling us to question authority, to question, these structures. And when something's wrong, we shouldn't just accept it. Maybe we should be rallying against it. I mean, that's what I'm taking away from it. And just like, it could simply be because of the times we live in. But I think it's such a beautifully done series, and I really hope it gets renewed.
Yeah,
it's almost at this point, it's the Jedi or it's like the Empire, whereas like the rebels were fighting against the Empire to break them down. But at this point, the Jedi are the ones that are in power, And as they say, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have an organization this big and powerful without there being some hypocrisy, without there being something that needs to change.
Yeah.
So
All right. Before we go, I do want to read off Jazz's comments. Jazz says he has some thoughts. Number one, he reversed who he liked and who he doesn't like now. He's like, Kamur has some amazing lines. He loved them. The one where he said, deep down, you always knew, was a nice acknowledgement to the audience, maybe letting the audience know that they always knew. I thought that was pretty interesting. He says he thinks May is written pretty terribly. He didn't. But he was like, I think it's the last part. He's talking about that. It was the same thing I have an issue with. He said the fights were incredible, but didn't really connect enough with Yord to care when he died. Like I said, we barely knew him.
He was not part of the Yord horde.
He was not part of the Yord horde. He said Jackie dying was way more intense. Goddamn, the triple stab. Oh, and when Khmer stabbed one Jedi and force pulled the other one to saber, that was awesome. And he said the Umbra mod thing did not pay off. So Jazz and I are pretty in line with our thoughts, actually.
You're twinning.
I know, we're twinning. That's pretty good. But yeah, man, listen, I'm really excited. Swar, talking to you, it's made me a little bit more hyped about the show. I appreciate you coming on and spreading some of your positivity about the show. I myself like the show, don't love it, but like I said, like I know you said like it's the journey and not the destination, but I feel like for a
you need that destination.
Not for most shows, but for a mystery show, it's kind of like Lost. Like, you have this amazing show, and then at the end is like, what just happened here, right? So like you kind of need it. Like How I Met Your Mother. Like whenever there's a mystery, like it does have to pay off. Like not all shows need to have that, but a mystery for me really does.
Well, did How I Met Your Mother, did that pay off, Neebs?
No.
Can you tell me that?
No, neither did Lost. No, it didn't pay off.
I feel like you're dragging your baggage from your other disappointments onto this show. Let it go, man. Let this. You don't even know how it's going to end yet, and you're over here talking about what if it doesn't pay off? Like so far,
you're analyzing
you don't
me.
even know. I'm just saying.
Your past trauma is haunting you. Hold up. That's hitting too close to home.
Sorry, no, but it isn't Lost. It's How I Met Your Mother. It's not season 8 of what they call Goblet of Fire.
It's not How I Met Your
Sis. How I Met Your Sis. Yeah, give it a chance. Just be open-minded.
Subtitle for this show.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And before you guys go, one more time, let the audience know where they can find you.
I'm Christine Janelle. You can find me at Cinelljay. That's CINELLEJAY. If you want to chat, I'm mostly active on Threads. I'm also on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram and Facebook. I'm basically everywhere. But I'd love to see you.
Damn, people use Threads.
Me and my mini-me. I made sure I had it ready this time.
Oh, nice. Yes, I love the mini-me. All right, Swara, where can people find you?
Thanks for having me once again. I'm at Spider Swarz. That's SpiderSwarz on all social media. I am a freelance writer, written for The Nerds of Color, But Why Though, The New Arab. I have had my debut on Nerdist about, I want to say, a month and a half ago when I reviewed Monkey Man. That was a great film. Yeah, y'all had a great review of it. And I'm a co-host of the Middle Geeks podcast on the Hard Knock Life podcast network, where we cover anything and everything Swana/Mina media and anything else we feel like. We're going to do a review of the Acolyte once it's fully done. So if you're interested for more of my thoughts, check out my podcast, The Middle Geeks.
All right, guys, check out the podcast, and don't forget to wish Jazz a healthy recovery. And until next time,
Salaam
guys.
Tech, not Jazz.
Until next time, guys. Salaam, nerds.